And so thank you guys for the Town Bank presentation and the information you got and the slides that you'll be receiving. You now have an introduction to the basic principles of how to work with a buyer and how to work with mortgage issues, because that is essential to a success in this business. What we're going to do now is we are going to go over all of the agent services. Now, I can't see everybody, so I would love to be able to have you raise your hands and tell me which office you're associated with, but I can only see 5 of you. Are any of you in the Mechanicsville office? All right, David is, and I can't see anybody else's because they're blank. But I'm your agent services coordinator. I'm the first point of contact for all of the things that we're going to talk about, for the things that are on this flyer. I'm going to go over this entire flyer, which you also have a copy of. Carolyn, which office are you affiliated with?
I'm in the Chester office with Shannon.
So you have Jennifer, and you want to get to know Jennifer. You want to get to know your ASC. You want to bring them candy and flowers and stuff. They are the ones who know where everything is and what everything does in the office. So, Luis, what office are you affiliated with?
Midlothian with Becky Parker.
Becky Parker. And so you have the new girl there, Amanda, whom I've only met once, but I've had contact with, and she seems really, really nice. And how about Dawn and Davina? What offices are you with?
I'm in Ashland.
Ashland, so you've got Lucy.
Yes.
And if she is not only excellent, she's about the most upbeat person I've ever met in my entire life.
She is.
And Davina? Can you hear me, Davina?
I also have the pleasure of working with Lucy. Yep.
All right. And the others of you I can't see. I know Dylan is in my office, so you're stuck with me. And Cameo, what office are you affiliated with?
I'm at the Midlothian office with Becky Parker and Amanda.
So you've got Amanda as well. And Christina, you're Midlothian as well, are you not?
You're correct.
So the only one I don't remember is Edwinette.
Twin Hickory.
Twin Hickory. So you have Betsy. And so those are the first point of contacts for all of the things we're going to talk about. First thing I'm going to mention is we do not have pictures of all of you. And some of you have given me pictures, so you're safe. And we do things with those pictures to help you get your business started. But we need your agent photos. So I'm going to threaten, if we have to do something and we don't have your picture, I will go on Facebook and find one. So there you go, if that's not enough motivation. But we do need your agent picture, and if you will send it to me, I will make sure everybody who needs that in their file in the Hometown system gets a copy of it. So please get me that as early in the process. And there's a few more things that you're going to learn about that I've already taken care of for you, for most of you anyway. So let's go ahead and get started with this flyer. And I'm assuming you can all see this flyer on your screen, Hometown Agent Services. Someone just nod who has the video on. Yep, that'll work. Good. And we're actually going to go over this entire flyer, because what we want you to do is ask for these things. I have agents who wanted something and they come to me and they say, well, John, I know you're busy. I didn't want to bother you. And I always reply, well, you know, they pay me to do this stuff. It's really okay. So we want you to use this stuff. We don't want you to have to do this for yourself or go find someone to do it unless that's your preference. It's not an obligation. And I want you to go to your ASC first, because I don't want to steal anybody's customers. And quite honestly, you're our customers and clients as far as this stuff is concerned. And our job is to make you happy and successful in whatever ways that we can. So we're going to start with flyers, e-cards, and postcards. We can make them for you. You get a new listing and you need a flyer to put on the kitchen counter or in one of those boxes in the front yard. You let your ASC know and they will make it for you. They will send it back to you as a PDF, and you can print as many as you want. black and white is free. Color is about 20 cents a page, and it gets billed to your Hometown account. You won't even realize you paid it unless you look closely at your statement. Same thing sort of with e-cards and e-flyers, except they are electronic. They're not for printing. The flyers are for printing. The e-cards are for posting and emailing. So you get a new listing and you want something to put up on your Facebook real estate page, which we will talk about a little bit at the end of the class, or something to email out to everybody that you know. You let your ASC know, they will make it for you. In fact, most of the time, if you ask for a flyer, they'll also give you an e-version of it for just this reason. And you can post it and you can email it. And there's no charge for us creating any of those things for you. The only cost with the printing flyers, obviously, is the cost of the color prints, because there is a cost there. But other than that, there's no charge for it. Postcards work very much the same way. They're like e-cards, except they have a physical existence. They're actually a physical, high-quality paper postcard. And so they're not free in and of themselves, because doing postcards costs money. But the design and creation and providing you with it is free. So you get a new listing. There's a pattern developing here. Did you notice that? We want you to do a lot of that part. You get a new listing and you'd like to announce to the neighborhood, 100 people around your listing, that there is still time for them to pick their new neighbor. And you want to send that out to the neighborhood. All you have to do is let your ASC, your agent services coordinator, know that you want to do that. They will create it for you. They will show it to you, and you will tell them how lovely it is. And then you will give them your credit card information, and we take care of it from there. The cost of doing postcards, including designing, printing, addressing, mailing, and postage, which is the most expensive part, is about $65 for 100 postcards. So that's a pretty good deal. And all you have to do is say, I need one, and I like it, and I will pay for it, and we take care of the rest for you. You can do it for just listed, you can do it just sold, you can do it for a lot of reasons, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about in just a moment. But that's the quick basic part of flyers, e-cards and flyers and postcards. Any questions about that? I'll take that as a no. Now, there are a couple of additional things I want you to realize about these. And so first of all, most of what I just said involved like just listing a property or selling a property, and that's probably far and away the most common way that we provide these services. But they don't have to be limited to that. You can use these services for any kind of a marketing project that might help you in your real estate business. So for example, with flyers, we have an agent in the Mechanicsville office whose name is Donald. I know his nickname, but I won't tell you what it is because I'm not mad at him right now. And he asked me for a wanted poster. So I had him wear his cowboy hat into the office. I took a picture and I put it on the flyer. I put little bullet holes around the outside, and he came up with this incredible marketing slogan. I think it was, wanted dead or alive to be your real estate agent. Yeah. And I crossed out the dead because he didn't really want to be dead, you know. But he liked it, he printed it, he distributed it, hand delivered it to some of his customers and clients, and it worked well for him. Same with e-cards. And I'll use a specific example here. How many of you, and unmute for this because I want to hear everybody say yes, how many of you have been told to assemble a database?
Absolutely.
I have, yes.
About 37, 45 times you've been told that, right? Yep, and that you are going to write a letter and put your card in it and send it out to your database, introducing yourself to the people you know as a realtor, your new career move. Well, you can do that with a postcard. You can see that Meredith did it here with a postcard. And if you think about it, the postage is less, it's cheaper. And my theory is if you send people who actually know you something with your picture on it, they're probably going to look at both sides. No envelope to stuff, no letter to fold, no stamp to stick on. All she had to do was say, I'd like to do a postcard. I like the postcard. Here's my credit card information. And we took care of the rest. So just like we can do flyers for you that are related to business, we can do postcards, we can do e-cards for you. This one here is about finding out what your home is worth. You can send that out to your favorite subdivision. The idea being that if they contact you to ask you if what you think their home is worth, and we have a class on that, by the way, I think it's next week. If they ask you that and you come and meet with them and tell them and they decide they want to list the property, you've got a shot at the listing. So it does not just have to be for just listeds or just solds. It can be for any legitimate use that you want to make for developing your business. All you have to have is an idea. We have lots of things we've made for people, but if you've got a new idea, we'll create something. We'll follow your theme. We'll make it up for you. And you know what? If you don't like what we come up with, that's okay. We'll get over it eventually. We'll be all right. Don't worry about us. So, any questions about that aspect of flyers, e-cards, and postcards? All right, we'll tell you then something about the two people who left earlier, Abby and Audrey. They have a flyer, e-card, postcard program in Town Bank as well. It's called Total Expert. It's excellent. And their postcards are half the cost of our postcards. But the reason is that you're sharing the postcard with them. You're both advertising on it, so they're picking up on half the cost. And so some of our agents like to use their stuff because it is cheaper. I mean, they'll print their flyers for you, and I don't think there's a charge for them. And some agents like to use our stuff because they want to be the only person being promoted on it. And that's just a business decision. Either way, we're fine with that, but you should also contact Abby or Audrey or both and ask them about Total Expert. It's a great program. They also have another program that I had forgotten to mention while they were on, and that is a second opinion program. So if you do reach out to them for information from them, ask them about their second opinion program too. It's really, really cool. So that's flyers, e-cards, and postcards as a whole. We make them. We want you to ask for them. We like doing them. It's kind of fun. And I even have some other designs that I'm not showing here, some very fancy ones. If you list a high-end property, I can make a really great-looking 4-page hard paper brochure for you and stuff like that. So do not be afraid to ask. Any questions about those 3 items? I'll take that as a no. Now, I can only see 3 of you, so you guys are going to have to answer. Luis, Carolyn, and Davina, you're going to have to be answering from everybody because I can't see anybody else. I don't even know if they're really there at this point, but that's okay. So let's move down here a little bit to mailing and agent email networking lists. Now, this is something that kind of relates to the first 3 items. And that is, if you want to do any kind of mailing project, you can pull the addresses out of the tax records. Once you learn to use the MLS, you have access to the tax records for just about the entire state of Virginia. And you can pull mailing out addresses out there yourself, but I will tell you, you don't have to. You can ask me. Jennifer is very good at it. Some of your ASCs are very good at it. And I'll bet I can do it a lot faster than you can. So if you need a list of mailing addresses, don't be shy about asking. If your ASC is not comfortable doing that for you, they will refer it to me, or you can refer it to me. And I'll bet no matter how good you get at it, I can do it a whole lot faster and better. I can remove all the duplicates. I can get rid of commercial properties and do not mails and give you a nice clean mailing list to use for whatever project you may be doing. In fact, when you do order postcards, if you want to do a particularly targeted mailing with them, I can pull the addresses for you myself, and I'm more than happy to do that. And with Town Bank postcards, they do not have a great source of addresses. So even if you use their postcard and mailing system, I am often asked to pull the mailing addresses for that mailing. And that's not a problem. I am more than happy to do it. You're able to do it yourself, and if that stuff's fun for you, because it is fun for me, that's not a problem. But I can do it for you and save you the work and save you the time and send it back to you. On the other hand, email networking lists. I'm the only person I know in Hometown who does it. There are two reasons for it. First of all, anyone can do it if you know how. I'm the only one who knows how. I can pull them out of MLS, and I'm not telling anyone. Someday I'll tell you why, but it's not just to keep my job security. But part of the reason is I'm also the keeper of the Hometown Do Not Email list. And we don't want anyone but me to touch that list. We don't want more than one pair of hands on it. Not that I'm any specialer than anyone else, but we want that list to not be damaged. All right, got one coming back in. So here she comes. So you can ask me for mailing lists as well. Now, where that becomes important is with e-cards. Let's see, who's with Mechanicsville? David, you're with Mechanicsville, right? So you get a new listing, you do an e-card, you ask me for an e-card. I will probably, even without you asking me, automatically go into the MLS, find all the agents who have a listing in the same general area as your listing, and send them your e-card saying, listen, you have a listing in the same area as mine. We might get to do business. So here's some information on my property. Let's see if we can't put a deal together. For those of you in other offices, I have no idea that you did an e-card. But if you would like me to do that for you, all you got to do, Carolyn, is say, let me see, I'm going to see, you got Lucy, right? So you got Lucy to, no, oh, that's right, you got Jennifer. Right, so you asked Jennifer for an e-card. You want me to send it out to the agents in the same areas you're listing, you got to send it to me. And I will pull the agent email addresses in that general area, and I will send them your e-card. I'm the only one who does it because A, I'm the only one who knows how to do it that I know of in the MLS. And B, I keep the do not email list. And so you can ask me for agent email addresses for any legitimate business purpose that you want. And I will supply you with a clean list that you have permission to use. Now, I will say this, one of the questions I often get when I talk about this is, do we have access to private citizens' email address lists? And the answer to that is only if you want to go to jail. That's technically against the rules. Technically, it's kind of illegal. And no, there are sources out there. And I checked one of them, and yeah, they had my email address on it. I don't know where they got it. I never gave them permission. But I tell everybody that is a real bad idea in the long run. So no, we don't do that. If you decide to do that on your own, then that's your risk that you're undertaking, not mine. But we can get you agent email networking lists and mailing lists. So any questions about that? All right. Well, you guys are good. You guys want to get done early, don't you? I do too. I got some food waiting downstairs here. So, all righty. So let's talk about marketing material design assistance. Hey, we're already doing desktop publishing for you. And if you are one of those people that's fun and you like to do it, go ahead. but we'll take a shot at it. If you're going to do some kind of a marketing work where you need something designed, we'll design it. You don't have to use it. We'll get over it eventually, but we will take a shot at it. You can see there that Donald wanted to create a banner, and the company that made the banner would have charged him for setting up the graphics. So I did it for him. And he brought the graphics to them. I probably saved him $100 or $200. And he hangs that banner at the Lee Davis High School football games in the parking lot. I had another guy who used to work here. He was part of a softball league, a men's softball league, and they had a printed program, and he wanted to put an ad in the program. So I had him bring in his hat and his bat, and I took a picture of him and I made him his own baseball card. He even signed the side of it. We had no statistics or anything, and it had no trading value, but it made a great ad. So if you need something like that done for a promotion or an ad, I've done a couple of logos for a few people. Some of them got used, some of them didn't, but we'll take a shot at it, save you the cost of paying somebody to do that design work, because we're already doing desktop publishing for you. Okay?
So you can use that like for Facebook also?
Sure. In fact, one of the things I was going to talk about later,
Okay.
when we get into compliance, I'm going to mention Facebook. And there are some compliance requirements. I'm not going to go over them now because they fit better at the end of the class when we're talking about compliance in general. But I can help you by creating your real estate page cover photo. You know how on Facebook you need a cover photo and a profile picture? Well, I can make your cover photo compliant. So when you get your Facebook real estate page, if you send me a link to your Facebook real estate page, I will copy off your cover photo, overlay it with what it needs to be compliant, and send it back to you, and you can change your cover photo. So that's a good example of what I'm talking about. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And you'll find out what that looks like at the end of the class when we talk about compliance. Good question. Any other questions about this particular feature or any of the other features we already talked about? All right then. Everybody unmute, because I'm going to ask an important question, and I want everybody to answer out loud. The question, oh, and Dawn is having trouble connecting to audio, but I'm assuming you can hear me.
Yeah.
Who likes free money?
Me.
Yeah. Yeah, no one's ever said no to that. Well, referrals are free money. And what I mean by that is we don't actually have a referral service. We have a referral person. Her name is Lucy Brightwell. She's in the Ashland office, so at least two of you have probably already met her. She's the other Lucy in the Ashland office. And so the way it works, you sell a house to somebody here in Hanover County and they're moving to St. Louis and they don't have a real estate agent to help them find their new house. Lucy will find an agent for them. And if they use that agent and it closes, you get a piece of the deal. Same thing the other way around. They moved here, they bought a house in Henrico through you, but they still have a condo in Phoenix to sell, and they don't have an agent. Lucy will find them an agent. If they use the agent and it closes, you get a piece of the deal, and all you did is give out a name and a number. So it's free money. And the nice thing about doing it for Lucy is she takes care of all the paperwork. She follows up to make sure that if it closes, you actually get paid. And these are fun. I do one or two a year. In fact, tomorrow, what I do periodically, and I'm due to do it tomorrow, just happens to be on my schedule tomorrow, because I know people all over the United States. I will post something tomorrow that says, hey, anybody in the United States who knows me, if you need a real estate agent, you're having a hard time finding one, let me know. I'll help you find one. And I do a couple of these a year, and you forget about them. And then all of a sudden, like 4 months later, this wonderful $900 check comes in that you were not expecting. And so you really just go to lunch that day. It's great, you know? So this is good stuff. And our agents always forget about it. Some of you have already seen this. Somebody sends out to all Hometown, does anybody know a good real estate agent in Roanoke? Well, yeah, Lucy knows a good real estate agent in Roanoke. So just give her a call when you've got those opportunities and don't miss them. Most of the time you miss the opportunity for a referral because you didn't ask somebody if they had a real estate agent somewhere where you don't do business. It's a great question and you're helping them and it's free money. So any question about referral services? And who you got to call?
Lucy.
Lucy Brightwell, that's right. All righty, let's move on to market statistics, because if you haven't discovered it already, in the MLS, you will discover that you have more opportunities for market statistics than you know what to do with. And we're about to come up to the next time of the year when market statistics become important. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But in the MLS, you have access to statistics in Matrix. There's a stats tab in there. I'll show you where it is when we go into the MLS later. And the graphs and charts are kind of lame, but it's got good information if you learn how to use it. I've offered to teach classes on it, and no one's ever taken me up on it, which means either they figure it out for themselves or they're just not bothering to do it. We also have two MLS products, InfoStats and FastStats. They're from the same company. They are built into the MLS. You can access them from inside the MLS. You can access them on that initial Clarity desktop. You know, for those of you who have logged into the MLS, you log in and it gives you a page with all their services. They are very easy to use as well. And I was on the committee that helped put those together. I like them very, very much. RAR puts out statistics on a regular basis. You want to read those because they also supply those to the media. And you want to know what RAR is telling your customers about what the market is like. So you want to watch for those. But there's a much easier way to get statistics. Anybody want to know what the easiest way to get statistics is? Somebody just say, yeah, I'd like to know.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
All right, ask me.
How do you get statistics?
Just ask me for them. I will do them for you. We used to have a program called RE Stats. I also know how to use all the stats programs in the MLS. And I can do it much faster than you can. I did it for somebody today. I've done a couple of them this past week. I do them for the company as a whole. I do them twice a year. So next week, I'll actually be putting out some new statistics. I do them in January for the previous year, and I do them in July for the first half of this year. So next week, when I'm sure all the data is probably in, I will actually be putting out some statistics packages. But in the meantime, you can ask me for market trends and statistic reports for the area that you need them, and I will provide you with them. I will provide you, unless you specify some sort of market statistic that you need specifically, I will provide you with a set of reports that's about 20 pages long. It will look like I worked all day on it, and you can go on thinking that, but I didn't. I just happen to know where all the buttons are. You know what I mean? So, couple of things I want you to know about statistics, and then I'm going to give you homework. I did already mention some new stuff will be coming out next week. Number two, the most important thing you need to know about statistics, numbers in your numbers for them to make sense. So I will only do statistics for our agents based on an entire county, an entire zip code, an entire MLS area, or an entire school district? And I'll tell you why. You ask me for statistics or market trends on a subdivision. There are almost no subdivisions in our entire area that are large enough to do that. I live here in Hanover Grove, and we have 231 properties. So think about it. 1 year, 3 properties sell. The next year, 4 properties sell. That's not a market trend. That just means somebody either moved or died who didn't do it the year before. And the numbers don't mean anything. So there have to be enough numbers in the numbers. Here's your first homework assignment. I want you to request a statistics package for me. I'll do one for you for the first half of the year. I'll do it next week. I want you to pick a zip code or an MLS area or a school district or an entire county. And please, for this time, only send me one. Last time I did this, someone got so excited they sent me like 8 different places to request. And my wife wants me to come home to dinner once in a while, you know what I'm saying? But pick one that's going to be an area that you think you'll be working in and you could use the information. And I will assemble a package for you and send it to you so that you can see what you get. And then from then on, when you need that information, if you want it, all you got to do is ask me and I will send it back to you. In fact, what usually happens is I get enough people to ask me for stuff that you'll probably at some point ask me for something I've already provided to someone else, and I might already have the reports on my computer to send to you. So that's market statistics. That's what we can do for you. Any questions about that? All righty, then remember your homework. And along with your homework, I'm going to mention something. Because I've already told you there's things you can ask me for, right? You remember me saying that? You all got excited, right? Yeah, of course you did. Well, now I'm going to tell you you can't ask me for anything. I'm sorry. You just can't. Here's what I mean by that. If you tell me you want something, I will forget it. If you text it to me, I will lose the text. If you hand me a note or put it on my desk, I will lose it. So anything you need from me, please, please email me the request. It automatically goes into my to-do folder and it helps me keep organized. There are 110 agents in Mechanicsville, 350 agents in all of Hometown. And that's the only way I can keep track of all the things that everybody needs. So is that a fair exchange, a fair deal? Poor Dawn is having trouble staying connected, I think. Oh, no, maybe she's back in again. All right, I'm going to assume that she's still here. I hope so, because I can see her. I can see her on the list, but I don't see her on my picture. All righty. So any questions about market stats? All right. Have any of you done an open house for another agent yet? And if you're muted and you have, unmute and say yes, please.
No.
Okay.
No, sorry.
Well, that's one of the reasons we want your picture. One of the best things that you can do right now, especially with the world starting to open up a little bit, is consider doing live open house with precautions. It's a great way to get your feet wet, to get familiar with properties, and start to meet some people out there who might be shopping for homes. They do work. Now, not every open house will work as well as others will, but start thinking about doing that. And if you get an open house opportunity, your ASC will put together an open house package for you, including flyers and e-cards and a sign-in sheet and signs that you can put out and precaution notes and instructions that you can use. And it'll really help you set up your open house. It's a whole package of about 8 or 9 things. that we will send you that will make the setup and doing of your open house a breeze. So consider contacting some agents in your office and see if anybody needs you to host an open house. It's a great way to get moving, especially this time of the year. And now that people are actually starting, at least with caution, to be out and about. You should have a mask, you should have hand sanitizer, and there are instructions about how to handle, but people are starting to do it, and it appears to be reasonably safe, and it appears to be working well. And we will help you with open house materials. Any questions about that? All right then, let's talk training. And I'm just going to check here to make sure I don't have anybody else trying to come in. It looks like everybody's still here. Okay. I think all of you are getting this fast start training. I think I got all of you in it, but tell me if you don't remember seeing it. All righty. It is a 30-day email-based training program that we have. And you'll recognize it if you've been getting it because the emails say things like day 1, day 2, day 5. If you haven't started receiving that, it's because you came on board a little too recently. Send me an email, this is important, saying start me on Fast Start. I often don't start everybody right off because there is homework in it. And it's kind of hard to do the homework if you don't have your MLS access set up yet. But your sales manager will help you if you don't. But some of you have been getting it. I know, Luis, I put you in it. You should have been getting those emails. And David, I'm almost positive I put you in it. Let me explain.
I don't have my license yet.
Yeah.
I'm probably 2-3 weeks away. So.
All righty. Well, I'm going to double check all of you. If you're not in it, then by tomorrow you probably will be.
I just got my email straightened today, so thank you.
Okay, so it may be that you'll find there are already a few classes in there that you didn't know you had gotten because I probably sent it to your hometown email. Here's the way it works. It's a 30-day email program, and it has 16 emails. So if you do the math real quick, you realize there are spaces between some of the emails, aren't there? Mm-hmm. That's because some of the emails have homework. So for example, email number 10 or 11, you're going to get a tax record and a description of a property, and you're going to be asked to try to do a CMA on it, a comparative market analysis. Now, we know you probably don't know how to do that yet. That's okay. You're going to be asked to find 3 actives and 3 solds that you think are similar enough. Mm-hmm. And you're going to use those properties to come up with 2 numbers. You always look for 2 numbers when you price a house. You're going to try to come up with what you think it might best be listed for and what you think it's likely to sell for. And then you're going to bring that to your sales manager and say, I didn't know how to do this, but I took a shot at it. How'd I do? It's not pass or fail. They will go over it with you and use it as a training opportunity. Cool. Same thing with classes like 11 or 12 or somewhere in there. You're going to get a copy of the purchase agreement. You're going to get a copy of the listing agreement. And you're going to be asked to go ahead and read it and fill it out. And you may have never seen one before yet. You should, by the way. Those are the 2 most important documents for you to start familiarizing yourself with right now. You should be reading them. But you're going to be asked to fill it out. I suggest you don't do just 1. You do like 3 or 4. And then bring it to your sales manager or your team leader or somebody who's been in the business that you have a good relationship with and say, you know, I took a shot at this. This is what I came up with. How'd I do? And you want to do it enough times so that you kind of know how to fill in all the blanks. You kind of know what each paragraph kind of talks about. And you can kind of explain each paragraph with a 1 or 2 sentence statement. Does that make sense? So that's what this program is all about. It's not to train you. It's to get your feet moving and show you that you can't break anything, you can't get in trouble, but you don't want to wait until tomorrow you have to do your first CMA or your first contract, and you've never even read the document before. That is actually not a good position to be in. So if you have gotten the Fast Start emails, please do them. They are very helpful. And do the homework and bring it to your sales manager. They will love you to pieces for it. I have had agents like it so much that when it was finished for them, they asked if they could go through it over again. I have agents who go through it once a year just to practice and remind themselves of the things that they need to be doing every year that they might have gotten out of the habit of doing. So that's Fast Start email-based training. I probably sent it to you at your hometown email, so look for it there. And if you haven't gotten it, please send me an email. I'll make sure that you are getting it. So any questions about Fast Start? Then let's talk some more about training. We have a ton of training in Hometown. And those of you who have seen the calendar for the last 2 months know that we've had training every single day for 2 months, and it will continue. I have 2 classes on Thursday, and I have 2 classes the following Thursday. Thursday is MLSGUY around here for these 2 months. And we are probably the most comprehensively trained firm in the entire region. And I used to work for the MLS. I've been the MLS guy in 5 states for 5 years. And I know everybody because I used to work for RAR and the MLS there, CVR MLS. And I know everybody, and I can tell you of all of the companies I've been in contact with, Hometown has more training and the best training than any of them. And they don't pay me to say that, so that's okay. Take all of it. Don't just take it once. Make it a habit to take some of it every single year as a refresher. None of it comes with credits for your CE or SPLE license requirements, unfortunately. Some of it used to, but that changed. But it is well worth it. And we have started recording a lot of these classes. Have you guys, any of you guys been on Hometown University on YouTube yet? There's
Yes.
a ton of recorded classes there.
Love
I
it.
have my classes recorded there as well, but it's a little different. I have my own channel. I have MLSGUY-RVA, but my classes are also available on Hometown University as a playlist, if you know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
You go to Hometown University, go to the MLSGUY playlist, and all of my classes are there. This one's probably going to be there if it comes out all right as well. And you can take them anytime you want. Now, that's a secret about my classes, because I'm not telling anybody my classes are recorded until July is over, so that everybody doesn't just not come to my live classes. I want to have a few people in the seats when we have the classes. So I'm going to let everybody know about the recorded ones. Some of you already know about them because you've been in my classes. So take those classes, Hometown Infinity Powerhouse training classes. Hometown is excellent in this regard, and you can't get enough training. In addition, I like to say that we are what I affectionately call Buffiniites here at Hometown. There's lots of people out there that do this kind of training. Peak producers, Brian Buffini is the best, but there's Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry. I grew up with Tom Hopkins. These people will teach you how to operate yourself as a professional, as a business, how to organize your time, how to spend your time, how to commit yourself to the things you need to commit to generate business, how to script yourself so that questions that you are faced with on a regular basis, you answer automatically so that it comes out professionally and it comes out smoothly and it comes out effectively. And in my opinion, Buffini is the best of them. A lot of our training is based on them. And at some point, you'll be offered the opportunity to subscribe to Brian Buffini's programs themselves. They do cost money, but they are well worth it. Most of our best agents, at least at some point in their career, have subscribed to Brian Buffini and his principles, and they use them regularly in their businesses. So I don't get a commission for saying all of that, but I do want you to be successful. I mean, let's face it, the more successful you are, the more likely I am to continue to be employed, right? So I want you guys to think about that. What's that?
Brian Buffini also has a lot of free, Mike Berry does too, a lot of free broadcasts on YouTube, and I highly recommend them as well.
Mm-hmm. And we hold meetings sometimes where they do, where we share them as a group. And we've even had things down at the Richmond Convention Center with Buffini that the whole company was invited to because we are participants. So watch for those things and consider participating in them. They will enhance your career. What's that, Edwina?
Yes.
I didn't hear you. Up. Paul went away. In any event, let's talk about one more aspect of training. And I wish I could see everybody at this point so I could get you to raise your hand, but I'll trust you on this. How many of you are new licensees or will be new licensees when this all gets going? Yeah. So you know that you have to do 30 hours of SPLE training in your first year, correct?
Correct.
You didn't, you now know it's essential. I'm going to tell you two things about SPLE training. Number one is do not fail to do your SPLE training. I know it's somewhat on hold right now with the governor's emergency order, but nonetheless, if that order gets lifted, DPOR has absolutely no sense of humor about their education requirements. So do not fail, even under these conditions, to do your SPLE training. There are two ways to do it. One of them is probably the best way considering the quarantine. You can do it online. The two best sources that I recommend are either Mosley Flint or the CE Shop. There are others, but those are the two most widely used and probably the most reliable. And just get it done. Now, if you don't like online classes, RAR does offer the training on their site, and they've opened somewhat back up. And if you're interested in in-person training, I prefer it because I learn more, but it's kind of hard to do right now under these circumstances. But you can call RAR. Their number is 422-5000. Ask for Teresa Neff. Tell them John Hicks said hi. She's the best at it there. Anybody there can help you, but she's the best at it. And just tell her you want to find out what the best way is to get your SPLE done and finished and behind you. Don't wait until the last minute. I had someone last year who thought they had finished it and they had accidentally selected the wrong course and actually had their license deactivated for a month while they got caught up. You don't want that to happen. So get it done early and put it behind you. Any questions about that? Awesome. Then let's move on. We're making some pretty good progress here. We're going to talk about Listhub, listing syndication. Now, this is a service that MLS offers. What it does is when you put a listing in the MLS, they automatically send your listing all over the internet. Now, the reason it's on here as an agent service is the brokers had to opt in if they wanted to take advantage of it. It's free. So when MLS offered this to the brokers for free, what do you suppose all the brokers decided? They said yes, didn't they? Yeah. So, and we said yes. So because we said yes, we provide you with the service. You can see the connection there, right? So when you go on a listing appointment, you can say, if you list your house with me, it will go out to hundreds of websites all across the internet. You don't have to say unless you want to that pretty much everyone else can say the same thing. However, there are two aspects of listing syndication that I want to make you aware of tonight. And this is the teacher part of me. I just can't help myself. So first of all, if you get a listing and you see it out there on the internet somewhere and there's something that's not quite right about it, don't call the MLS, don't call the website, don't call Listhub, just call me. I know people. I've been doing this for 30 years. I know the questions to ask. I know the information they need. And I'm probably about 95% successful at getting your listing fixed. So let me do that for you. Just contact me with an email and tell me what the problem is, and I will contact them and get it fixed for you. Fair deal? Second thing is, and this is just a training opportunity. In the listing, you are going to discover that there are 4 internet display choices that your seller gets to make. They're a little hard to spot in the listing agreement because they're in 2 different places and they look different. They're real easy to spot in the MLS itself because when you put your listing into the MLS, they're just 4 check boxes, yes or no. So I want you all to have a piece of paper. I'm going to tell you what the 4 internet display choices are, and I'm going to tell you why you want to convince your seller to say yes to all 4 of them, okay? So everybody ready? Internet display choices. The first 2 are no-brainers. The first one is internet yes or no. And everybody says yes to that because that's pretty much the only advertising we do anymore. And of course, they want their listing to go out on the internet. Second one is pretty much a no-brainer as well. Address display, yes or no. In other words, does the address show when it goes on the internet? And everybody knows, give a 9-year-old about 12 seconds, they'll figure out the address of the property. Everything is geocoded on the internet now anyway. So those everybody will say yes to. It's the next 2 that people want to say no to. Number 3 is yes or no to AVMs. You don't have to write down what that means, but I'll tell you, AVM stands for Automated Valuation Model. The most famous one in the whole world, and you know of it, is called the Zillow Zestimate. Everybody hates the Zestimate. It's either too high or too low, or they just don't like it. And so when they realize that's what an AVM is, they'll want to say no to that. And if you don't know what happens when you do that, they are not going to be happy. Because here's what happens. They say no to it. You list their property. You say no in the MLS. And the next day, your seller goes on the internet and goes to Zillow, and there's their house. It's on Zillow. And there's the Zestimate. But it says not for sale. Because all you did is keep the MLS information from going to Zillow. What they wanted was you to make the Zestimate go away. Well, like my son likes to say, Dad, that's not a thing. That's what Zillow does. Every property in the United States is on Zillow, and it has a Zestimate. So you tell them to say yes to it. We want their listing to go to Zillow. And then you say, and if any questions come up from anybody regarding the Zestimate, I will handle them for you. That's why you hired me to be your real estate agent. And then you smile and that little sparkly thing comes off your tooth. You know what I'm saying? But you don't want them to get frustrated over that. And you want to handle them for it. And one little aside on that, it is possible, in case you didn't know, for the homeowner to go on the Zestimate and make adjustments. Don't offer to do that for them. Don't tell them they can do that unless they ask. Be the source of the source, never be the source of the information. Do not be responsible for any of the changes they make to their own Zestimate. Just a good idea. Fair deal? The last one is even weirder. It needs to be taken out of the listing agreement, in my opinion, but it won't be. And it was added to the listing agreement about 10 years ago when we first started putting our listings on the MLS, and people thought other people were going to say nasty things about people's houses. It never happened. But what it is, it's yes or no to blogs, reviews, and comments. but it had a huge unintended impact. Does anybody know what the largest site on the internet is for blogs, reviews, and comments? And you are
Yelp.
already on it. Facebook, right?
Oh, Facebook.
Yeah. All social media is a billion blogs that invite reviews and comments. Now, this wasn't added for that purpose. Facebook didn't exist yet. But if somebody says no to blogs, reviews, and comments, you need to tell them then we cannot do any social media marketing, because that's all social media is. So you want to tell them to say yes. Now, I will tell you, a lot of agents and a lot of offices don't worry about this. They let them say no, and then they go ahead and do it anyway because they don't care. But we want our agents to know what they're doing and to be professional. And this is just part of being professional, to know what that means. So that's why you want them to say yes to all of them. All right? And that should cover it for you. Any questions about listing syndication? Yes, Davina? Yes.
Can the listing syndication be unchecked or changed at any time?
Yeah, you can always,
So if they choose not to do what?
you would have to do a change to the listing agreement and get it initialed. But if they want to change it down the road, they can. Usually it works the other way around, though. You forgot to tell them they should say yes to AVMs. They had that experience with Zillow and they got upset because it says their house is not for sale. So you changed it for them, but what happens is it leaves a bad taste in their mouth. And so you want to make sure they understand what's going to happen, because that's at the beginning when they're at their most vulnerable, you know? So good question. Any other questions? All right, then, let's briefly talk about Toolkit CMA. It is an excellent program, and we used to have a lot of agents who used it. In our previous MLS, especially because the CMA module in there was not all that great. When we went to Matrix, Matrix has an excellent CMA module. And if you take the class next week on Thursday that I'll be teaching on it, you'll get to see it. And so we're probably down to about 12 or 15 agents who have an account in it, and maybe it gets used 3 or 4 times a month. Some people use it because they're just so used to it and it just works for them, and that's fine. My recommendation is that you get familiar with the one that you have in Matrix already, the CMA wizard that comes with Matrix. But if at some point you want to try something different, let me know. I can hook you up with a Toolkit CMA account. It costs about $8 a month when you use it, so it's not expensive. But I recommend you get familiar with what you already have rather than try something different unless you're already familiar with Toolkit. But it is available if you're interested, okay? All right, then. We're almost done with the flyer. How cool is that? MLS listing management. It used to say MLS listing input, because did you know we will put your listing into the MLS for you if you hate doing that? All you got to do is give us all the information, you know, like fill out the 11-page listing input form. And most people pretty quickly realize if they're going to fill out the form or supply all the information, they could have put the listing in themselves in the same amount of time. And that's okay. There's still a few people I do it for because they're just so busy they don't have the time. And I at least help them or get them started, and that's fine. But I will tell you this, there's nothing that you yourself can do more to learn the MLS better than put in or help put in a couple of listings. You will learn what all the fields are. There's like 300 fields in a listing. And you will let them learn what they are and learn what kind of information goes in them, so that when you start searching for properties, you will suddenly find that you are 10 times better at doing searches because you kind of know what information is available. So one of the things I recommend is find somebody in your office who has a listing put in the MLS and ask if you can ride shotgun with them and get familiar with the process. It's excellent. So I changed it to MLS listing management. That's where we help you with more anyway. You get a price change on your listing and you can't get to it quick enough, you let your ASC know and they'll go in and change the price for you. You have a listing that's going to expire and they're going to let you keep it for another 6 months, or you have a listing that's going to be released because, you know, you guys just couldn't get along. You can't make those changes, but we can. So you let us know and we'll make those changes for you. You need help with your pictures. We'll help you with your pictures. You get a eye check notice from MLS that says you might have done something you shouldn't do. Let me know. I used to work there. I can tell you some things you might be able to do to get it fixed or even help you fix it. And occasionally, I might even be able to help you not get fined as a result. I have changed the price of a listing in the back seat of a car on the Long Island Expressway at 4:48 on a Sunday afternoon on my phone just to prove I could do it. So we will help you manage your listings in the MLS. And one additional piece of advice that goes back to training. There is one class that I want you to take as soon as you can from RAR. And they have made it available online for credit. And it's called Rules of the Road, MLS Rules and Regulations. It sounds boring, but it's one of the best classes they offer because it will tell you how the system works, how you work with other real estate agents, what's going on out there, how you handle different kinds of situations. And best of all, it comes with a get out of jail free card. Meaning, if you do get a $250 fine, you can use your get out of jail free card instead of paying it. Now, you have to take the class before you commit the crime. You can't commit the crime and then go take the class, you know what I'm saying? But I will tell you, I take that class myself once or twice a year just to stay on top of everything that's going on, and Peggy Litch is a phenomenal instructor with it. So highly recommend you take that class. But let us help you manage your listing in the MLS. Let me help you answer questions on how to do it and rules and regs and that sort of thing. Any questions about listing management and support in the MLS? All right then, 2 more things. First of all, in-house technical MLS support. Anybody have an idea who that might be in Hometown?
You.
Yeah, that's me. Yep. I used to work there. I've worked for 7 different MLSs across 5 states, and it's just what I do. And my license plates still say MLSGUY. So you can call me with questions, you can email me, you can text me questions. I even answer questions on weekends. Just let me know what you need. If I don't know the answer, I'll find someone who does. Believe it or not, that kind of stuff's actually fun for me. And I like being the MLS guy. So let me know how I can help. I enjoy it, okay? So the last thing we're going to talk about are agent websites, hometown agent websites. I'm going to have to leave the flyer to talk about that and open up the hometown website. So this is your last opportunity for any questions on here about any of the services that we went over and what they do and how you get them and why you should use them. Any last quick questions before I close the flyer? All right, then, and you have my contact information. You pretty well know where I live because I work from home right now anyway. So let me know how I can help, and I'm going to go ahead and close this flyer. And I'm going to open up the Hometown website and put it up on that screen. Can you all see the Hometown website? And there it is. And this is our current website. I used to say it's our new website, but we've had it for almost 4 years now. And it's a great website. We like the way it works. It's modern. It's designed to fit this kind of screen. And I have one of those 9:16 wide screen monitors here. And it works very well. Have you played with it? Have you gone on and looked at it? You should. You should go to this website and click around. There is information on here There's tools you can use. You can even send your customers and clients here, and there's information and tools that they can use. We have a few other things here. You can click here. We just added this, and this will let you know all of the hometown open houses that are coming up from this next weekend. So you know what? You haven't got anything to do this weekend yet? Go pop into a couple of our open houses, meet a couple of agents, network a little, talk about the house. They may even have sandwiches. You never know. That's my favorite part, by the way. And we have information down here. Do you all have a hometown email address? If you don't, you need to get it. If you do and you don't access it anywhere else, down here at the bottom is the Office 365 login, and you can go here and access your email from the hometown website on any internet-enabled device from anywhere in the world. You can do it on your computer, your tablet, your phone. All you have to do is get to the website and log in down there. What I wanted to point out to you, though, is if I go here to find an agent, these are all of our offices and their web pages, and there are agents here. First of all, I'm going to click on Entire Company Roster. Everybody gets to be on the company roster. If you're not on here yet because you're not licensed and maybe you didn't get on here yet, you will be. And so if I scroll, who said they were from Ashland? All righty. And what's your last name again, Dawn?
Zook, Z-O-O-K.
That's right. That should be easy to remember. What do you know? You're on here. How about that?
Hey!
And I'll bet when I put you on there, I'll bet you were swamped with the incoming calls, weren't you?
Oh, yeah.
It was almost unbearable. You probably didn't even get to eat for 3 days. Am I right?
Mm,
Yeah.
could be nice.
You probably will never get a call from this list. I admit that. But it's still a presence on the internet, and it's good to have. That's not what websites are for, and I'm going to talk about that. But everybody gets to be on the company roster here. So go here, find yourself, check your information. I do make typos once in a while. And if you don't find yourself, let me know. In the meantime, though, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to the Mechanicsville page just because that's the one that I'm the most familiar with. And you see all these people? These people are on here because they have a hometown agent website. That's how this system works. It's how the company that does the firm website works. And so to get on the office page, you have to have a hometown website. Now, you may not need a website yet. Websites don't do what they used to do. They don't generate spontaneous business anymore. They just don't. That's just not the way the internet works unless you're Amazon or GE or somebody like that. But you still have to have a website. It's your presence on the internet, and your customers and your clients expect you to have one. The reason it will help you is because whether you sent them there or they find it on their own after they know something about you, they want to go somewhere to see you and learn more about you. And so at some point in your career, you need a website. It's just one of your tools. It's like the sign out in front of the Mechanicsville office, if you haven't been by there. We have a sign that lights up with messages. Nobody ever rides by that sign and says, oh, a real estate office. I think I'll stop in on the way home from work tonight and pick up a house, you know? But 1,000 people see it a week. And it's our presence in the community. We don't even know when it played a role in somebody remembering hometown, but it does. Your website will work exactly like that. It's a billboard in the middle of nowhere that you drive traffic to. It goes on your business card, your flyers, on your Facebook page. You put your Facebook page on it, and it becomes a system for you. So at some point when you're ready, you will need a website. You don't have to use hometowns, but you're not going to find a better and more cost-effective opportunity for an internet online presence than this. So I'm going to go here to Mike Clements. Mike Clements has one of the solutions that we offer. It's not really a website. It's what we euphemistically call a business card site. But it does get him on our website with his picture and his contact information. People can go here and get his information. And I even found a way to cheat and get a link on it to his Facebook real estate page. So it almost acts like it's a website. This costs him $100 a year. He doesn't even know that he pays it. It goes to his hometown account. It comes out of his commissions. And it's the simplest way to get a presence on the hometown website on the office page. On the other hand, Cindy, our manager, has an actual hometown, fully functional agent website. It looks remarkably like ours because that's on purpose. And there are a whole lot of different designs, but 99% of our agents are just like this one. It matches our scheme, it matches our colors. It's got a place for people who are looking for a home or wanting to sell a home. It's got a reviews section. It's got a place to put a bio, and I've linked it to her social media sites. I need her to get me her LinkedIn up here as well. This costs her $400 a year, and it can be billed to your account either monthly or annually. If you do it annually, I will tell you save about $45. So when you are ready for your website, all you do is contact me and say, John, I'm ready for my website. And I will need to know, do you want the business card site or the full site? Do you want it to be billed to your account monthly or annually? I will need your picture, obviously. I will need all of your social media links. And it would be nice to have a little bio on this first screen, because remember I said people are going to go here to want to know more about you. So you want it right up here in the front. And so then I will send you the application to sign electronically through AuthentiSign. So if you haven't used it yet, you will learn to use it. And once that's done, I will go ahead and set up your website, and you will be ready to go. So any questions about hometown agent websites? All right then. Well, we're moving quite along here. I'm going to jump completely out of this. We're done with agent services. And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to open up the MLS itself. You didn't see this, by the way, but I did get on a half hour early and I needed something to do. So. And let's see, do I have the MLS open yet? Nope, I'm going to have to open it. So let's go ahead and open it here. And when you get access to the MLS, you will go to cvrmls.mlsmatrix.com, which can be a shortcut on your desktop if you know how to create those, and it makes getting to the MLS real easy. You will get a login and password if you don't have one already. Your login name will be a 5-digit number. Your password will be a password that you will want to change. And don't bother trying to make your computer remember your password. You do have to type your password in every single time you log in. You need at least 12 characters, so pick a phrase or a sentence that's easy to remember. I'm not going to tell you what mine is. And then once you log in, it will take you to the Clarity desktop. And these are all the programs and services and opportunities and places that are available to you through the MLS. This one takes you directly to the MLS. I'm going to click on that in a minute. This one takes you to Transaction Desk, which they just changed the name of to Transactions. So you will see that change very soon. And some of the other sources of information and things that you can use. Here's two of those statistics programs I mentioned earlier. For now, I'm just going to click on Matrix, and it's going to take us into Matrix. And I am, in the next 20 to 30 minutes, going to teach you the entire MLS system. The whole thing, sort of. So How many of you have already been in the MLS at least once at this point? Anybody?
Yes.
All right, and so you've seen some of this, but I'm going to fill in some of the blanks and holes and stuff for you. And I am going to give you some more homework. So this is the home screen of the MLS. The entire MLS lives under these tabs across the top. And my theory is for today that if you know where they put stuff and can find it, most of the regular things that you can do with it, you can figure out for yourself. And I want you to do that. You need to go in here and play. Now, to play effectively, you will need two things. You will need a 20-ounce cup of genuine hometown coffee, available in the office, and an entire box of Krispy Kreme donuts. It's a requirement, you know. It was on your licensing test. I don't know if you remember. They said, you asked you if you drink coffee, and if you said no, they said then you can't have a real estate license. So, but you want to just go in here and play. And what I'm going to do for the next 20 minutes or so, maybe a little longer, depending on your questions, is I'm going to show you where everything is. And I'm going to give you some specific homework, enough to get you started. And the thing that's in it for me is if you do this, then when you call me with questions, your questions are going to be way more interesting to me. And I'll enjoy them. So, all righty. So here we go. We are on the home tab. This is the main screen, the first screen that you get to when you come into MLS. And if you go into any of these other places and get lost, you can click here and get home again and start over. It's very easy to do. These are called widgets. We're not going to go over all of them today, but I will tell you this screen is somewhat customizable. You can move these widgets around. You can put them where you want. You can click on the X and get rid of them. You can click on the little arrow and make them small or big again. The ones that you get rid of, you can go down here and put back again. So if I click on this one, I can drag it up here, and now it's back again, and I can get rid of it. That's why your screen won't look exactly like mine. And so once you get familiar enough with MLS that you have some preferences, you can customize your screen for your own use. I'm going to just point out two widgets for today. The first widget is this one in the upper left-hand corner, News and Alerts. It's the only one you can't customize. It is super glued in that upper left-hand corner, and you can't move it. It's where MLS puts all of their messages. Read every message. Don't get in the habit of clicking on read later or I read this and you didn't. MLS does not put stuff up there that is just nonsense and fluff. Almost every one of them will have a piece of information for you that you will be glad you got, and they only take a few minutes to read. So everybody just nod when I say this. I promise to read all the messages. You can be lying. I won't know. Okay, thank you very much. The second one I'm going to talk about is this one in the middle. I put it here in the middle because I like the pretty colors, and it's called Market Watch. And it only does one thing, but it's useful. It watches your market area for you so that you know what's going on out there. It's not for working with a particular customer or a particular kind of house. It's for watching your market. So right now, yours is set, or when you get in for the first time, yours will be set for the entire MLS. And almost nobody I know regularly does business across the entire MLS. So what you're going to do when you get in is you're going to go here to where it says Customize, and you're going to pick where you want it to watch for you. Mine looks at Hanover County. That's where I live. I don't list or sell properties, but I have it monitor Hanover County. Once you have it set up, you can look at it 4 different ways: 7 days, 3 days, every 24 hours. I like today because today would be as of midnight this morning. And so once you have it set to your market area and you pick how you want to look at it, you just watch it. So for right now, this says 3 new listings. Maybe this morning, and when I got up and got on here, there was 1 new listing. And I clicked here and looked at it. Now there's 3. And there's some price increases and decreases. So I can click here, check them out. Maybe I'll see something that somebody I'm working with might want to know about. That's all it does. So you set it up, you click on it once or twice a day, and you stay on top of things in general. So it only does one thing, but it's a very useful thing, and you want to set that up. It's kind of fire and forget. Once you set it up, you just have to look at it once in a while. Any questions about anything that's on this screen? All right, then like I said, everything else is under one of the tabs across the top. We're going to look at all the tabs, then I'm going to come back to search, and I'm going to run a search for you, and I'm going to show you the compliance stuff, and then we will be done. So under search, this is where all your searches live. And you can look up properties in all of these categories. Single family and condo, which is another way of saying residential, multifamily land, there's rentals, there's commercial properties. And by the way, check and see if you have access to commercial. If you don't, just let MLS know. There's no charge for having access to it, but I'm pretty sure they started giving access to it to everybody. You can look up agents and other offices. You can look up public records here. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And there are other searches here. If I click on that, you can look up open houses throughout the area. Lots of different ways that you can search under this search tab. And we're going to come back and take a look at single family full. One piece of advice I'm going to give you. You see when I point to this, there's a full search and a quick search. Never use quick search. It's a complete waste of time. The difference between the two is so small, it's an embarrassment. In fact, it's so much of an embarrassment, they finally just put full out here on the main menu. Just trust me on this. Get in the habit of always using full search. Everything you're used to looking for will always be in the same place, and you'll unconsciously memorize the screen and everything will work better for you. Fair deal? And you have that involved for all of them here. We'll come back to this in a moment. There's that stats tab, and there's all kinds of statistics available to you here. Like I said, it must either be easy to use or nobody uses it because no one's ever asked me questions about it, and I've never had the opportunity to teach a class on it. But who can tell me what the easiest way is for you to get statistics and market trends reports?
You.
That's right. Thank you, Luis. I was hoping somebody would remember that. You are now my favorite, sir. That's just the way it is. Sorry. But yeah, you can get them here. You can get them in the over on the original screen. You can also ask me for them, and I'll be happy to send you them. Under my matrix, we'll come back to that in a minute. Tax search. Here is your first bit of homework. There are two ways of accessing tax records. Realist is the way that Matrix has had since we went to it 6 years ago, and it's okay. They've even improved it lately. But I want you guys to learn how to use the public record search screen first. Let me show you why. If I go to search and go to single family full, this is what the search screen looks like. We're going to come back and talk about it. If I go to tax search and click on public record search, it looks almost the same, doesn't it? The only difference is it's got tax record fields in it. So if you learn how to do searches over here, it'll be a lot easier for you to learn how to do searches here. Down the road, you can play with Realist and see if you like it. I do a class on it, which I also think is next week. And it's, I think, the afternoon class, and you can take it. But you want to learn to use public records. You have access to public records for most of the state. And whenever you do a listing or a contract, it's not on the requirements sheet, the info sheet that we have in our file, but you should have a printout of the tax record in every file, if nothing else. But you can do a great more than that with tax records. I'm going to give you some homework on it, but I'm going to give you some homework on it in a few minutes. but that's where tax records are located. So home screen, different kinds of searches, different kinds of statistics, and tax records are here. Links. Links is kind of similar to that first screen, the clarity screen. These are a lot of the third-party services and products, and the same thing is under links. These are some of the things that you need to use real estate, to use Matrix, and to do some of your technology. Remember I said I was going to have you write some things down, and I already had you write down one or two things? Well, Louise got bumped out. Let's get Louise back in. Okay. All right, and hopefully he'll make it back in. Not seeing him yet, but hopefully he will come back in. In any event,
Hey,
I want
John,
you to
while
write.
you're doing that, can I ask a quick question?
Sure, go ahead.
In any of the links, is there a link, or does Hometown suggest any CRM platform to keep databases?
No, we don't
Straight
suggest any particular one, although Buffini comes with Referral Maker, which is the most popular one in all of Hometown. It's one of the good reasons for getting involved with Brian Buffini's material is it includes Referral Maker, which is an excellent CRM. But MLS does not have one that's actually built in, and it doesn't automatically connect to any of them out there. There's still Top Producer, which is very popular, and there's a few others out there. Okay, good question.
Okay.
Poor Luis, are you there? Yeah, you made it back. Awesome. So I want you to write this down, everybody who's still here. There are 3.5 programs in our MLS that you need to get familiar with. I'm going to tell you what they are and give you homework. You ready? Number one is the MLS itself, Matrix. That's what we're looking at right now. You want to get familiar with it. You want to go in here and play. And there are 3 things you want to learn how to do. Number one, you want to be able to go in here and run a search and find 5 properties to go show somebody and make sure you can print them and make sure you can email them. Pretty straightforward. Make up some fake customers and think about what you think they might ask for and see if you can find 5 properties to go show them and make sure you can print them and make sure you can email them. That's working with buyers, right? Second thing is you want to go in here and find comparables for 3 properties. Find 3 actives and 3 solds. Come up with an idea from that of what you think it should list or sell for. Practice, take it to your sales manager. And again, make sure you can email it and make sure you can print it. So the first task is working with buyers. The second task is working with sellers. And you want to do this for fake before you have to do it on purpose. The third homework for working with MLS is called auto email. And I have a class on that on Thursday in the afternoon. Auto email is where you create a search that's automated and it automatically sends new listings to your buyer. You want to go in here, find where you do that. I'm going to show you where the button is in a minute, and make believe you're your own customer and start sending yourself some listings so you can see how it works. And of course, take my class on Thursday and you'll learn even more about how to do it. So the first service you need to get familiar with is Matrix, the MLS system, and you want to learn to do those 3 things. The second one is called Instinet Transaction Desk, soon to be called Instinet Transactions. That is where all of our forms live, the purchase agreement, the listing agreement, all the forms that are related to it. And you want to go in there now and at least with the purchase agreement and the listing agreement, start reading it and start filling it out on the screen. Do it for fake. You can't break it. And again, make sure you can print it and make sure you can email it and talk to your sales manager and get better and better at that. The third one is the tax records I just mentioned. You want to go to tax records and listen carefully. You want to look up the tax record of every single person you know. If you can look up 10 tax records in a row without failing to find them, and again, email them and print them, you will again. And what's cool is if that's boring, you could do that and look up your friend's tax records, and then you could call them and say something like, "You paid what for that house?" I mean, you're licensed now. Don't you think they'll appreciate the unsolicited evaluation of their home? No, but this is public information. Everybody's allowed to know this stuff. It's just put all in one place for you. And so that's the 3 programs you want right now to begin once you have access, getting some familiarity with, and then take the classes, and we will help you become proficient at it. Now, I did say 3.5. The half is showing time. Now, you're not going to necessarily do that here. All this will take you to showing time where you can set it up for yourself. But on all the listings in the MLS is a little link where you can schedule showing appointments. You can't practice this one. You can't go there and create fake appointments just to make sure you know how to do it. People don't like it when that happens. I did that to Cindy once. But you need to ask somebody to show you how to request an appointment. It's not hard. It's a grid. You click on the date and time. It sends them an email. They set up the appointment and email you back whether you can show it at that time or not. But you need to make sure, because about 80% of the appointments now are done that way, and you want to make sure somebody has showed you how to ask for a showing appointment. So 3.5 programs in MLS, and those are the homework assignments to help you begin to play with them. And you need to play. It can be fun. That's where the donuts come in. Any questions about those homework assignments? All righty, then let's just keep going. Go back to home here. Under finance, you have access to a seller's estimated net proceeds, a buyer's closing costs. Of course, Abby and Audrey can help you with this, but you need to talk to somebody in the office about how you do this. You do need at some point to be able to tell a seller what they're probably going to come out of selling their house with at an estimate. And you do need to be able to tell a buyer what they're probably going to spend when they buy the house, including all of the costs that are related to it. These are forms that'll help you do it, but you want somebody to sit down with you and go over with you how that works. Market reports. You won't need to go here this year, but next year when you sell all those houses and you qualify for a RAR Outstanding Production Award, you can go here and figure out what awards you're going to get and hang it up on the wall. Input is where you go to input listings. It's where you go to change prices, to change statuses, to add pictures, to add documents, to manage all of your listings in the MLS. And one other thing, when you get your access to the MLS, you are going to want to change your password. In fact, you're required to, and this under input is where you can also go to change your password. The last tab is help. Under help, you have tip sheets, you have FAQs, you have videos, all kinds of stuff that you can watch and read and keep and print to help you to learn how to use all this MLS stuff. And I will tell you, nobody ever goes here, which is pretty much why I have a career. So thank you very much. But that's a look at the overall layout of the entire MLS. And I have found that if you know where something is, half your question is already, whew, I almost sneezed. I hate almost sneezes. Half your question is already answered at that point. I'm going to go back to search and walk you through a very basic search. Any questions about any of those tabs for right now? All right then. Go back to search and we're going to click on single family full search, and I'm going to very quickly show you how a search works in here. It is not hard. Now, some of you said you've already been in here. So yes, this is a test. Does anybody know why this is yellow? That is a no. Yellow means required.
Yes.
You have to pick something or type something when it's yellow. So watch carefully. I can collect single family. I can click on condo, do one or the other. And if I want to do both, I hold down the control key. The control key allows you to select more than one thing off of any list in any Windows product. It's not an MLS thing. It's a Windows thing. It allows you to select and unselect off of any list. For today, we're just going to do single family, so I'll leave single family selected. You can pick your statuses. If you're working with buyers, you want active or maybe active and coming soon. If you're working with comparables, you want actives and sold, so you can select those, and you can change here how far back it goes. Same with pendings or expireds. And you can select whatever statuses you are working with depending upon what you're planning to do. For buyers, it'll mostly be actives. For comparables, it'll mostly be actives and solds or maybe expireds. You'll get more understanding of how that works as time goes on. Today we're working with a buyer, so I'm just going to leave it on active. Now here's a little tip. You don't have to put in the county, but I sometimes like to, and I'll show you why. I'm going to type in Henrico County, and the reason I like it is two things for me. First of all, these are the MLS areas for Henrico County. I live in Hanover, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't memorized what those areas are, but also these are the Henrico schools, and so people will often ask you about schools and specific schools, and that comes up automatically when you select the county. You don't have to do it, and I just accidentally selected every county on the list. I didn't mean to do that, so let's get rid of that. I'm going to do Hanover County because it's where I live, and I'm just going to do Area 44 because that's where I live as well. Now, what I want you to notice is it keeps running count down here. This is much more useful than most people realize. You are going to come up with your own magic numbers. You're going to go find 5 houses to show somebody. Maybe you want 12 houses to pick the best 5. So as you add criteria, the numbers will go down, right? And when you get somewhere around 12, you'll stop putting in information and start looking at the actual properties. Same thing with comparables. You want 3 actives and 3 solds. You put in some criteria, and maybe your magic number will be around 25. You want 25, so you can pick the best 3 of each. So when you get close to 25 down there, you'll stop putting in criteria and start looking at the properties. So it's a very useful tool as you add criteria. So far, I have active listings, single family, and we're in Area 44 of Hanover. I'll put in a price range, and we're going to do 155 to 295. Notice I checked the little box so I didn't have to type in all the zeros. You know how many zeros I save over the course of a year? It's just incredible. And so now we are down to 21 matches. I will tell you that is a very low number. There is not enough inventory out there right now. You want to be aware of that so that you can tell buyers houses are selling faster than we can get them on the market. You want to tell sellers this is a good time to list their house because the competition is low. All righty, let's see. Dawn, you said you've been in here already, am I right?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, so I'm going to put you on the spot. Don't worry
Okay.
about it. It won't hurt too much. My guy wants 3 or more bedrooms. What do I type in the box?
3+.
Awesome. It's already there. As a matter of fact, I highlighted it. My guy wants 4 or fewer bedrooms. What do I type?
4-.
My guy wants 2 to 4 bedrooms. What do I type?
2-4.
You're going to be good at this stuff. See? You've already got the basics down. And that's how all number fields work in here. Now this one's a little more tricky. You see full baths and half baths, never ever ever use them. They won't give you the results you're looking for except in very special instances. Always use the total baths field. And Dawn, since you're the only one with a video right now, you're still on the hot seat. Listen carefully. My guy wants 2.5 or more baths. What do I type into total baths?
So this one, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's 2.5 plus. I've seen some people like in their email saying 2.1. So I didn't know if that's a special designation.
Well, I'm going to let you off the hook. It's nighttime. Normally I tease you with this a little bit. But if you type 2.5 plus, you will find every house that has at least 2 full baths and at least 5 half baths. Which would be great if that's your house. Baseball's coming back on later this month. We're all going to come over to your house and watch the games. There's no waiting at your house. But what you type is 2.1 plus. That's just how Matrix does it. And that will give you 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, etc., etc., etc. Everybody understand that? You don't have to understand why they did it that way. You just have to know they did it that way. So now we've got 155 to 295, 3 or more bedrooms, at least 2.5 baths. And we are now down to 7 matches. Boy, that's not a lot of listings. Back 5-6 years ago, we'd have had 4 or 5 times that down there. But what I want you to realize is I've just showed you everything you need to know to do searches in the MLS. Everything you need to know except where the information is located. So for example, I have acres here. Well, that's a numbers field. So if I need at least 5 acres, I type 5 plus. If I need no more than 2 acres, I type 2 minus. All number fields work the same way. And I have lists here. I click on the lists for what I want. And if I want more than one thing, what key do I hold down?
Control.
Control. All lists work the same way, with one exception I'm going to show you. We have garage, yes or no. So if I have to have garage, I say yes. Now I have 4 matches. If I'm not allowed to have a garage, my wife says I'm not, then I have to say no. And now I have 3 matches. If I want all of them, I go back and click on the white spot at the top of the list, and now I have all of them. And that's how everything in the MLS pretty much works. There are a few advanced features that you can learn down the road, but for now, all number fields work the same, all list fields work the same, all yes or no fields work the same, and you should be able to go in here and start playing with some basic searches. I'm going to show you 1 or 2 more things, though, just to help you a little further. Up here in the corner, I have style. Can you all see style?
Yes.
So, my guy wants a colonial. So I can highlight colonial, and now I have 3 matches. But he said he'll also take a contemporary, because in Hanover Grove, we have both. So if I hold the control key down, I can get both. Didn't change the number. But you want to understand 2 things about this field. Number 1, not everybody calls everything the same thing. Agents can, when they put a listing in, can pick up to 3 things off of this list. So for example, would you agree that most people think of colonials as being 2-story houses? So I'm going to go add 2-story, and now all of a sudden it goes to 4. I'll bet if we looked at all 4 of them, we'd probably say they all could have been a colonial, but they just didn't pick colonial for that one. So you will get used to trying other things to look for houses based on how people put things in the MLS in your market area. And I will say there are differences between agents in Hanover and agents in Dinwiddie. They're far enough apart to have some different traditions. So don't be afraid to play around and find more properties. But that's not why I took you here. I already told you the answer to this question. Let's see if you guys can tell me what it is. My guy says, never mind, I don't want to pick a particular kind of house. I just want to look at all of them. So if I click on two-story, it makes colonial and contemporary get unchecked. It goes away. Tell me how to get rid of two-story. That's what I thought. If I hold the control key down, it gets rid of the last one. They did not put a little white space at the top of that list, did they? They should have. I have had agents spend 2 hours trying to figure out how to do that. Remember that control selects and unselects. And as a new agent, I just gave you back an hour and a half of your life. So you're welcome. I can't tell you how many people have asked me that exact question. And down the road, you can see now we're back to 7 matches. Down the road, remember I said there are 300 fields in here? You can add lots of those other fields down here at the bottom once you learn what they are, and use those fields to add more detail to your searches. If I click on results, there's the list of properties. If I select some or all of them, all these buttons light up. There's that CMA wizard I was telling you about, and I can email them, and I can print them, and you have 4 sets of buttons here. For now, I want you to remember just this one. When I go to save, it lets me save my search, but you see the one in the middle? Under save, that's where auto email is. That's where I can turn this search into an automatic search that will automatically send my customer new properties as they come into the MLS. The class is Thursday in the afternoon of next week, or is that this week? Wait a minute. No, it's this week, this Thursday in the afternoon. I recommend you take the class, but you should go here and set up a fake auto email for yourself. See what your customers get. You can't break anything. You can't get into trouble. So that's enough information for you to go in here and play with the MLS. Yes, Davina?
So what is, you mentioned you can get fined, you know, $250 for messing up in MLS. So what is an example of one of the mess ups that you can be fined
most
for
of that
in MLS?
involves how you put stuff into the MLS or when you put it into the MLS. Putting information in places where it's not allowed. For example, you can't have a picture of your listing living room with you sitting on the couch holding up a sign with your email address and a sign that says, call me, don't talk to your real estate agent. You will get fined for that. You see what I'm saying? Those kinds of rules. When you get a new listing, it has to get into the MLS within 3 days. When you get a contract, it has to be made pending in the MLS within 5 days. When you get it closed, it has to be made sold in the MLS within 7 days. Those are the kinds of rules. You'll learn the rules if you take the class, and I talk about the ones that are related in my other classes and how they work as well. Good question. Any other questions about this part? Because we are literally almost done. We only have one last thing to cover, and then we will be finished. Yay, I know, I feel the same way. But we're going to go back here real quick to My Matrix. And what I want you to understand about My Matrix is, My Matrix is all about you. This is where all your stuff lives. Everything you do, create, save, search, set up, send, build, supply, it's all under My Matrix. And so if you need to find what you've done in here, you will find it here. So for example, under contacts, when you do an auto email or a CMA, you have to put your customer's information in there, and it automatically adds it to this address book. Your auto emails automatically live under auto email. So you can go in and see what your customer has been getting and see what they've been doing with that information. And I will show you that on Thursday. You can save searches. Every email that you send out of here is saved under sent email. So they say they didn't get it. You can make sure you send it. You can make sure you type their email address correctly, and you can even resend it to them. Your CMAs live under my CMAs, and you can manage your listings when you get them under my listings. What we're going to look at for the very last thing is my information, and I'm going to give you your last bit of homework. So when I click on my information under my matrix, we have 5 tabs. We're only going to talk about 2 tabs. The first one is the one we're already on, information. This is all of my information in the MLS. If you haven't done it, I want you to do this. If you haven't got your MLS, then I want you to do this the day you get into the MLS, and that's go here and flesh it out. Put in information where there's not information. Make sure the information that's already there is correct. This does appear on some of your stuff. You pretty much only have to do it one time, and then you only have to worry about ever going back if something changes. So go to my matrix, my information, and flesh out your information and make sure it's correct. The last thing is email signature. In Matrix, you can have an email signature. You can even do fonts and colors and a picture, just like you can do in Word. Listen to me carefully. This is no longer a good idea. This is a legal requirement. You are, under Virginia law, required to have 5 elements in all of your electronic communications with your clients and customers. That includes email signatures. And if it's an advertising venue like a website or a social media page, you also have to have the Fair Housing logo. Now, we make sure your hometown website is compliant, and I will help you make sure your Facebook real estate page is compliant if you ask me. But I'm going to give you the 5 elements that are required, and I would like you to write them down. All right? You ready? So here we go. The 5 elements are your name. Right, who'd have thought, right? Who'd think that would be an element. Number 2, your contact information. Phone number, email address, website address, whatever you're going to use. Number 3, the firm name. And if it's a place where you can use a picture and it has our company logo, you are covered because our name appears in our company logo. But not every place lets you use a picture. Number 4 and 5 are the ones everybody forgets. Number 4 is the city and state of the office where your license is affiliated. So my license is affiliated with our Mechanicsville office. My signature has to say Mechanicsville, Virginia. Your license is affiliated with Chesterfield. Your signature has to say Chesterfield, Virginia, Ashland, Virginia, whichever office you're affiliated with. And even if you routinely work in another office, because you're allowed to work out of any of our offices, you still have to have the one that your license is connected to. Make sense? The last one is an NAR requirement, licensed jurisdiction, licensed in the state of, or licensed in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And you need to have all 5 elements in all the places where you do electronic communications. Let me just tell you what they are briefly. You have email. You're going to contact customers through email. You need these elements in your signature. Do you use your email on more than one device? Probably. So if you do it on your computer, you need it there. If you do it on your phone, you need it there. If you do it on your tablet, you need it there. There is no way to put a signature in one place and have it appear on any of your other devices. If you are going to communicate with people via text, you'll need a signature there. Now, you can't fit all 5 elements in your texting signature. So you do the best you can. Mine says John Hicks, Realtor, and it has my designations. But you have to have something there, and it's in the settings section on whatever device you do texting from. Are you going to be emailing listings to people out of MLS? Please, everyone, say yes. We really want you to do that. So you will need a signature here in Matrix. Are you going to email people contracts and listing agreements out of Instanet? Yes, you are. So there's a place in there where you need a signature with all 5 elements. Now, you don't have to have this all done by tomorrow, but it is something that you want to get done. Don't be afraid to ask for help, and once it's done, you probably don't have to play with it again. But it is a legal requirement as of about 3 years ago. So those are the compliance issues, and for your website or your social media sites, I can help you with compliance on those as well. So that's it. My bag is empty. I hope that was enough information for it to be worth your while tonight. I know there's a lot of stuff, but I want to make this as valuable and as full of good information as I possibly can make it. Any last quick questions? All righty, then I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording. But thank you for being here. Have a great night, and may you list or sell something.
Thank you, John.
Thank you,
Thank you
John.
so much, John. Thank you.
And let me know how I can help you ongoing. That's what I'm here for.
Thanks
Thanks.
so much.
Thank you.
All right. Good night.